Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Saskia. I'm a yoga teacher and I'm passionate about making yoga accessible for everyone. Today we're going to do a short 15 minutes morning yoga practice. So it's a bit of a stretch, but nothing too strenuous. And we're going to stay quite low to the ground to really wake up our muscles first thing in the morning. So let's start by laying on your back. So coming to lay down with your feet flat on the mat, knees bent. And you can walk your feet out to the outsides of your mat and letting your knees fall in together. Your hands can rest on your belly. And let's take a moment here to breathe, to ground, to tune into your body. And notice what's going on for you today. Notice how your body feels. Just breathing deeply in through the nose and out through the nose. We'll stay here for a few more breaths. And from here, let's walk your feet into roughly hip width apart. And we'll start by bringing your right knee towards your chest. So you can, if that's accessible to you, you can hug your knee into your chest. You may need to just make some space, maybe move your belly out the way, and you can hold on either to the back of your thigh or you can hold on to your calf. See what works for you. And just pull the knee into your chest. And you can keep your left knee bent, or you can choose to straighten it out for a deeper stretch. If this is too much for you first thing in the morning, then just keep the left knee bent. And take a few breaths here. Slowly waking up the body. Let's take some ankle rolls. Rolling one direction and then rolling in the opposite direction. Just bringing some movement into your body. And from there, if you had your left leg stretched out, let's bring it back in, so bending into that knee, and then release the hold of your right leg. Place the right foot on the mat, and from there, bring your left knee in. And again, you may need to just make some space, move your belly out the way, and then holding on either to the back of your thigh, or if you can reach, you can hold on to your calf. Pulling that knee into your chest or towards your chest. And just as we did on the other side, you can keep your right leg bent like I'm doing now. Or if you feel you can go a bit deeper, you can stretch out and straighten that right leg. So just recognize what your body needs. Listen to your body, see what feels comfortable. Continue breathing in and out through your nose. And let's take some ankle rolls like we did on the other side. So rolling your ankle, your foot in one direction. And to the other side. And then let's release the hold of your left leg. And you can straighten out your left leg all the way. And then stretch out the body. Stretch out your arms up overhead. And maybe flexing the feet, pointing the feet a few times. Giving yourself a really big stretch. From there, let's bend into the knees again. And then see if you can walk your heels as close to your hips as you can. Placing your heels on the mat. And we'll get into our bridge pose, but we'll do this gradually. So we'll start by just tucking the pelvis. So as you breathe out, you tuck your pelvis slightly so that your bum comes up off the floor. Just a little bit. So we're only moving the pelvis here. We'll do this a few times. And release. And now let's roll a little bit further. So on your next breath in, you tuck the pelvis, see if you can come up off the mat ever so slightly. Holding it here for a couple of breaths. And on your next exhale, you can slowly release back down. Inhale, we're coming up again. Tuck your pelvis, rolling up. Maybe a little bit higher this time. And take a few breaths here. And on your next exhale, we're rolling back down onto the mat. And now for our last one. Inhale, tuck your pelvis, come up off the mat. See if you can push up as high as your body allows. Really dragging your heels into the mat. Make sure that your knees don't splay out. You want to keep them roughly hip width apart. Engage your glutes, so really use those muscles to push your hips up. I'll take one more breath. And on your next exhalation, you can slowly roll all the way down. Bring your feet together and then let your hips fall out to the sides. Your hands can rest on the insides of your thighs. I'll just pause here for a moment. Take one more breath. And use your hands to bring your knees back up. Straighten out your legs. And we'll just roll over onto your belly. And we're coming into a Sphinx pose. So this is a very common pose in Yin Yoga. And it's very similar to a cobra. The difference is that in cobra we have our hands on the mat, and Sphinx we have our forearms on the mat. So what we want to do here is relax the lower body, so we're not tensing the glutes. If this is too much of a back bend for you, you can just walk your hands forward and you'll feel that that's much less of a back bend. So we'll stay here for a moment. Notice how this feels in your body. I'll take one more breath in. Exhale, bring your hands together, elbows out, coming all the way down. Let's take a moment here. And then placing your right forearm parallel to the top of the mat. And from here, we're going to bend your left leg. And with your left hand, see if you can grab a hold of your left foot. Stretching the front of the legs. If this is not possible for you, you can just imagine that you're reaching. Or if you have a strap nearby, you can use a strap. But really, just doing this is enough if you cannot hold. Just make sure that you really pull the foot towards you and reaching your hand back. One more breath here. And release. And we'll do the same on the other side. So placing your left forearm parallel to the front of the mat. Bending your right leg. And then reach your right hand back. And pull that foot in towards you. Really stretching the quads, the hip flexors. And this is a little bit of a back bend as well. And release. From there, place your hands underneath your shoulders, pushing up into tabletop. And let's place your feet together, big toes touching, knees out wide. We're coming into our child's pose, stretching into the hips. Hands come all the way forward, forehead onto the mat. We're not staying here long, just a couple of breaths. Inhale, bring your hands back underneath your shoulders, coming into tabletop. And let's take a couple of rounds of cat and cow. So inhale, tilt your pelvis, drop your belly, chest, bring your shoulder blades together, looking up. Exhale, tucking your pelvis, rounding your lower back, upper back, shoulders, and then drop your head down. Inhale, reverse. Drop your belly down, shoulder blades coming together. Exhale, rounding. We'll take two more. Exhale, round into your cat pose. The last one into cow. Inhale, drop your belly down, chest down, look up. Exhale. And coming back into neutral. Walk your hands forward slightly. We're coming into downward facing dog. If you want to do this with blocks, you can. It makes it a little bit easier. So if you're using blocks, just make sure that your hand on the edges of the block so that you've got some leverage here. And from there, we're going to tuck the toes under, push into your hands, and then bring your hips up and back. And you can just bend your knees a bit, make space for your belly, maybe walking them out wider, pushing your hands into the blocks or into the mat. And try and get your upper body as straight as you can. So if that means that you have to bend your knees a lot, that's okay. And let's walk the dog, so alternating by bending into your knee and pushing the other heel towards the mat. Bending the other knee, heel to the mat. Just do this a few times, really stretching out the back of the legs. And coming back to your still downward dog. From there, see if you can walk your feet forward, sort of halfway, and then bringing your hands towards you, coming into a squat here. So you may need to walk your feet even further. And then bringing the toes out wide. Now, if you know that a squat is very difficult for you, you can use a block to place underneath where your hips are going to be, so that you can land onto that block. Otherwise, you can start to sink your hips down, bring your knees wide, maybe wiggle, making space for your body, and then coming into your squat, pushing your knees out with your elbows, hands together. So again, you can use a block underneath the hips if the ground feels too far away. You can close your eyes here if you're comfortable. One more breath. Exhale, bring your hands to the ground. Start to bring your hips up, coming into a forward fold. So bring your toes back to pointing forwards. Maybe bend your knees generously. And then holding onto opposite elbows. And just allow yourself to hang here. Stretching out the body. And bring your fingertips back to the mat, and then coming all the way down. Make your way into a comfortable seated position. So you may need to sit up on a block or a cushion, or maybe a folded blanket. From there, you can close your eyes, rolling your shoulders. Bring your palms together in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra. And we'll take one cleansing breath together to close our practice. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out with a sigh. Bowing forward. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this practice. Hopefully you feel ready for the day, and have a wonderful day, and hope to see you soon.